I've been submitting poems for a long time, but had I got the opportunity to have this chapbook without this kind of support group, without an audience that I thought would be interested in my poetry, I don't know if I would be able to even get close to selling 50 copies of the book, because I just wouldn't know who to tell about it. So it's really cool to actually have people out there who I know that are at least interested in poetry in general, let alone my poetry. So thanks again to all of you for that. And it's been a great year, and I hope that everybody can stay for the rest, for the last first session and all that stuff. There's going to be a lot of good stuff. So I had all these poems printed out, and then I got here, I started looking for them. I thought I left them here, but they're not here, so I'm going to have to read them off my phone. And I'll read, there were a couple, I invited a couple other people to read a couple hours ago, and that was too short notice. So they're all at work, and so I told them that I would read in their place. So this first, I'll read like 8 poems. This first one is called, and it's appropriate. I'm glad you brought these beers out, AJ. This first one's called Kenny Chesney Tailgate in Gold Lot 1A. Obviously, it was a day long. 6:30 a.m. at the latest, 5 o'clock just to be safe. 250 people with 20 cases, 20 handles, 2 kegs of Jenny, 20 hot dogs, 2 half-gallons of Heinz, and an 8-pack of buns. Keith couldn't find a ladder tall enough to reach the top of the 8-foot Octa beer bong, yet wide enough at the base to fit inside the kiddie pool and not wobble in the 500 pounds of sand we poured over the parking lot to create the artificial beach we needed in front of the tiki bar. So Kathleen held the bong steady while Piper stood on an empty cooler to pour in the beer for the 8 foaming chuggers below, waiting for sustenance. So Willa told anyone who asked that the bathroom was anywhere on the other side of the cars where the sidewalk ran. It didn't matter, as long as dumps were only taken in the porta-johns. Unless, he pointed out, you saddled up next to Senzo's driver's side door. Then it was too funny to stop you. All the guys with muscles, or the idea of muscles, had their shirts off. So Paul moved to join them, but Maddie said no. If he took his shirt off, then she would take hers off too. He reminded her that they weren't dating anymore. He could do whatever he wanted. And I wondered if Maddie remembered or would be embarrassed if I reminded her that Paul wasn't even the last guy she dated, that I was. Called things quits only 2 weeks ago, and my shirt was off, yet she was giving him a hard time and not me. As if she was so drunk, her memory was even drunk. Like Rachel McAdams in The Vow, that other Nicholas Sparks book turned movie Maddie raved about as we left the theater, where the heroine relives her life over again out of amnesia, back to the guy whose faults were least fresh in her mind, until fate's graces inevitably end the scenario the same way. The heroine with a human sculpture, and Maddie on yet another search for someone she can pause, fast forward, and rewind. We pre-gamed like this until the concert was about to start, and at that point stopped preparing and got down to the business side of drinking. I went into the stadium to work as a vendor, hawking beers to fans for a shot at a big payday, $8 a pop and a callous scowl at the sobering price of revelry, while everyone else left to hit the casino for the same. This poem is the first poem I ever had published, and when I got, you got a free copy of the publication after, and I got it in the mail, and it was a stapled packet. that was the publication. It was still cool though. It was called the Poetry Explosion Newsletter. This poem is called Remembering When I Lost My Virginity, after I Can't Quit Her by Blood, Sweat, and Tears. The second you let your forearm, 2 years younger than mine, cradling your energetic breasts, fall during that game of padiddle in my parents' car, and they encompassed the full landscape of my rearview mirror, I knew it was you, who Al Cooper was talking about, who had made a man out of him, and was soon to proselytize me 2 romantic nights later, after we shared a strawberry Phillies blunt, leaning against the bumper of my Ford Taurus SE-X. Our cotton mouths met in remorseless piano solos, fading into repeating vocal refrains, which I will not repeat, before we struggled to the back, unseen in our nakedness behind the draped windows with fog from our breath and smoke from the chilled leather hissing on our salivating, determined skin as it met the Thanksgiving air. It was a steady bass line then, a cool tambourine shake, like sprinkling a full container of Parmesan cheese right before the good part. And I licked awe everywhere I thought I was supposed to, until the backwards guitar solo, when we both had to pee, running out into the park behind red and yellow jungle gyms, and swiftly back again, me on my back, and inside, you surrounding me, leaning for the right angle, like a high-tech protractor, as saxophones and trumpets tiptoed in and blew, too early, repeating until it was done and gone, and we stared at each other, blushing, because the song faded after a few catchy minutes, but will not get out of our heads.
Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand, it's pointing at your head. You think you're mad, too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables in a restaurant in a West End town. Call the police, there's a madman around, running down underground to a dive bar in a West End town. In a West End town, a dead end world, the East End boys and Western girls. In a West End town, a dead end world, the East End boys and Western girls. West End girls.
Yesterday, all my troubles seemed so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Yesterday, life was such an easy game.